What if you had the resources you needed for your mental health right at your fingertips? Imagine a world where our mental well-being is prioritized just like our physical health, and where we have access to the tools and support we need. That's exactly what the Make Mental Health Matter show is all about. Join Kelli Melissa Reinhardt, a true warrior for mental health, founder of Make Mental Health Matter nonprofit, author, and wellness coach. This show is your gateway to breaking down the stigma surrounding mental health. Tune in for enlightening conversations, expert insights, and empowering stories that will not only increase awareness, but also provide education about mental health. It's time to have those hard conversations, prioritize your well-being, and make your mental health matter. Your mental wellness journey starts here.
Welcome to another episode of the Make Mental Health Matter show. I am your host, Kelli Melissa Reinhardt, and guess what? I'm not doing a solo show this week. I know you're so excited. Thank you for tuning in, whether you are watching or listening. And I know I've had a lot of solo shows this year, but it's all been really good. And when I do bring guests on, it feels so much more impactful because one, it's not just me talking, but also really adding more voices in of experiences and expertise. And I know I've had a couple book launches or authors that have been on here. But if you have been watching or tuning in for a while, you know that all of my guests are either in a space that they've had lived experience with to move them into what they do today, or they are experts in their field. And this show, the whole goal is to bring you as the listener or watcher really access to people resources, because we don't know until we know, right? And sometimes learning about other people's experiences and how they have moved through whatever it is can be super helpful for us as humans. So I'm excited for my guest today, and I'm not going to sit here and ramble. I'm going to give you a little bit more information about her and her experience, and we'll see where the show goes. So Meyer has autoimmune disease. She eliminated toxins in her life, learned to eat the rainbow. 15 years ago, she researched significantly changed her. Wait, sorry, let me go back. 15 years ago, she researched significantly changed her lifestyle and ditched her pain of chronic disease. She returned to school at 67 so that she can help you. She now feels better than she did in her 50s. She has a BA from UC Berkeley and is a health coach in Indiana. I think I said, yep. She is an award winning author, health coach, teacher, podcaster, and speaker. Cheryl's superpower is helping others return to wellness. She advocates for eating the rainbow, we'll talk about that, and adopting her 20 pillars of health. She feels great and wants to inspire you to do the same. She has books, classes, podcasts, cookbooks, and coaching available to support this process. Her first two books outlined her journey, and they are on Amazon. Combined, she has won 24 awards. It feels good to feel good. Learn to eliminate toxins, reduce inflammation and feel great again, and living low toxin in community. So, we're going to talk a little bit about her books, about her everything. So, without further ado, while I ramble a little bit more, Cheryl, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I am thrilled to be here.
Yay. Yes. I would love for, I know I gave your bio, but can you tell the audience a little bit more about your journey and your story and how you got here?
Absolutely. I was a solopreneur. I had my own jewelry business. I was manufacturing in Asia, and all my customers, I lived in California, were on the East Coast. So I was constantly in motion, doing everything to make my business be successful, but not taking care of me. And my body started complaining. And I had a joke that when the university wants me to get something, first they pat me in the arm, then I get the NCIS slap, and if I still am ignoring it, the 2x4 comes down. Well, the 2x4 came down. I woke up one morning and could not get out of bed because every joint and every muscle in my body hurt. So, what is this, the flu? What's going on? And it didn't go away. So, after a week, I started going to my MD and we ran 5 different rounds of tests. And then she called me and said, "Guess what? There's nothing wrong with you." And I said, "That is absolutely ludicrous because I can't function." And she said, "Well, you say you hurt, so I'm going to give you steroids, but really there's nothing here." And I said, "Number one, I'm not taking steroids. Why would I take them if you think there's nothing wrong with me?" I said, "And I'm going to go find it because I am not going to live a life of pain and pills." So I dug in, had no idea what I was looking for. I had a staff I could turn my business over to. And I was really lucky because I dropped right into a relatively new area of medicine called functional medicine, and they were running 20 different symposiums with multiple doctors, and I listened to every single one and started writing down the threads between them all so that I could put my own game plan together. What caught my attention is all of them had either gotten sick themselves or had a loved one that had gotten sick. And so they all went back for the functional training because they knew that their background wasn't going to help them do what they wanted to do. And then from there, I started writing down, change what I was eating. That sort of wasn't like I could have had a V8. It hit me. I was eating as fast as I was working. So I was eating on the fly. I was eating fast food, ultra processed food. I was doing very little cooking. So I immediately stopped, started buying real vegetables and started cooking, and then learning about why that was so important. And then the second area that I dug into was my stress, because the one thing my doctor did uncover is that my cortisol was so low, I was borderline Addison's disease. And that's because I was being chased by a tiger 24/7. And so my cortisol went way up, and then I burned it all up and went way low. So I knew I had to do something to bring balance back to that hormone. Now I've learned that hormone impacts every other hormone in our body. So I learned how to breathe. I started doing Tao yoga so that I wasn't getting tied into a not doing yoga, but they were doing things that were energy work and mental work. And that all started to help me. And from there, the third thing I did was I started to eliminate toxins because it made sense to me that if I had a lot of toxins in my products and I had a lot of toxins in my food, that was definitely interrupting my body and causing my problems. So literally, I went onto a site back then. There's other places to get the information now called ewg.org. And I looked up every single ingredient in every single product I was using. And then, depending upon how high the toxicity was, I found a lower toxin product. By changing my food to real food, it was very clear right from the onset I needed to eat organic because they were spraying so much poison on our food. And I if I didn't know what an ingredient was on the package of a thing at the grocery store, I put it back on the shelf. If I couldn't pronounce it or didn't know what it wasn't going in my body. So it took me 5 years just using those three strategies to start to come back to a point where I was functioning like a real human being again. And I got so excited that I felt so much better. I started sharing it with everyone everywhere I went. I was talking to people at the grocery store looking at bread. I was talking to people in the dental office. And at that point, functional medicine had spread out a little bit, so I finally found my own functional doctor in Los Angeles, and I had to drive an hour and a half to see her, but she literally took me the rest of the way home so that I came back to feeling better than I had felt in 20 years. I am right now 77 and I feel fantastic. And if there's one thing that I've learned is you have to own your own health, and wellness is balance. So if you're doing things that are putting your mental, physical, or emotional health out of balance, that's where you need to put your concentration. We all have more power than anyone has ever allowed us to understand. And I was brought up thinking I could do anything, which ended up being a really good thing because it allowed me to keep digging until I found the answers that I needed to return to wellness. The interesting thing is that nothing is the same as that day I woke up in bed. It's all changed and it's all better. I was in a long term relationship with a man who refused to change. So he had to go because if I didn't change how I ate and I didn't change my lifestyle habits, I knew I wasn't going to get well. So I went online with my list of non-negotiables and found a new guy. It was the old fogey site, and it ended up he lived 10 minutes away from me, had just lost his wife of 43 years to cancer. And he said, let's get on the phone. We're too close to do this writing back and forth. He said, I have been her caretaker for 5 years. I need to go on a get well journey with you. So I would love to come join in the cooking and we should go walking in the area and let's see how we can encourage each other to return to wellness. Well, he was such a great guy. 3 years later, I married him and we've now been married 11 years. But toxic relationships put you out of balance the same way as eating the wrong food and not breathing to release your stress and not getting enough sleep. Those are all super important things for you to put your body back in balance. Once I was there, I decided to go to, it's not Indiana, it's IIN, which is the largest
Oh,
coaching school in New York. Because even though I had huge files where I had kept everything organized that I had done, I wanted the certification so somebody would believe what I was telling them. Because back then, which was 11 years ago when I started talking to everybody, changing the diet to not eating ultra processed food was radical. I used to go online and people would write to me, where's the longitudinal study that you're going to get better if you eat real food? And my husband, who is a statistician, would roar. He said, maybe ever since the caveman days when they were eating real food. But I got attacked a lot by shills who were out there who did not want the public to know that if we take control of our health, which is essentially what I was advocating for, we had the ability to feel fantastic. And it doesn't happen overnight, but it's worth it every step of the way. So my first two books were where I wrote down as a layman, step by step, what I did because I wanted other people to be able to follow along with me. And I talked about not only what I did, but why I did it and what I learned along the way. And it was pretty revolutionary when the book came out. So it won 17 awards, including the coveted Mom's Choice Award. My doctor then said, you know what? How are you doing this with community? Because your friends aren't eating this way. I said, no, my friends think I've lost my mind. So she said, would you please write a book on how you live in community? How do you go out to dinner in a restaurant? How do you go to somebody's house for dinner? So I wrote that book as my second book, and I included a whole section on
oh no. I think she's frozen. She'll come back. Hey, it's alive. It's live. It's okay. We'll we'll come back. I'm gonna go to my quick first sponsored break, and by that time, I know Cheryl will be back with us. So, I'm gonna go to my quick first sponsored break, and once she pops back in, I will bring her back in. So we'll be right back after this quick sponsored break.
What if you could transform your mental health journey with just one question? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to prioritize your mental well-being like never before? Well, now's your chance. Introducing Make Mental Health Matter, the show that's changing the conversation about mental wellness. Join us every Monday on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Time as we delve into insightful discussions, expert advice, and inspiring stories. Hosted by Kelli Melissa Reinhardt, a warrior for mental health. This show is your guide to breaking down the stigma surrounding mental health and discovering valuable resources to enhance your well-being. So, are you ready to take charge of your mental health journey? Tune in and let's make mental health matter together.
Like that, we're back. And so Cheryl, yay! I'm like, oh, we'll just go to a commercial. It's cool. So I know you froze right when you were talking about the second book. You were talking about how um, eating in community, going to people's houses. I do want to point out a couple things that you said earlier. So, if you happen to be just tuning into the Make Mental Health Matter show, thank you so much, whether you're watching or listening. Cheryl is talking about her journey through really like, I mean, your whole body shut down, which I have heard of that before. But you were like, I got to figure this out. And a couple of things popped into my head as you were talking because we've been going to we have farmers market in the town that's right next to us, and the fruit and the vegetables and all those look so much better and they taste so much better, and you don't get the chemicals that are sprayed on them at the grocery store. So we had a whole conversation about the chemicals and all those things. So I love that you pointed that out because it makes a difference. And farmers, I mean, I feel like we don't support them as much as we should because that's where all of our nutrition comes. And I know in Europe, the same box, like a cereal box, the same box of cereal, like Cheerios, have very limited ingredients in Europe where we have like this giant list. So I love that you also pointed out if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. I know there are some things that you can't, maybe, and that's where I guess the question for me was there are some things that you can't avoid, but your book that you were just about to talk about is how do you eat when you're in community and going to other people's houses. So I'll let you take it from there.
Okay, and this is all leading to part of balance is also mental health. It all is part of the same thing. And eating the rainbow, which is what I am a huge advocate for, is so important because each color of your food has different gifts and they all get together and party in your body to create health. It gives you better mental health. It gives you better mental clarity. It allows your whole brain to fire its neurons so that they all connect perfectly. It helps your mitochondria, which are the little cells in your body that have the battery packs that you get all your energy from. Well, your brain uses 20% of that energy. So if you're not getting it from quality food, then your body can't function. And it does a really good job as long as it can until it can't, and then it breaks down. And the advantage of me dropping into functional medicine was they believe in the whole body. They won't say, you're depressed. You need to do this. Or, you have an unhealthy liver. You need to do this. They look at the whole body because they recognize that the whole body impacts everything else going on in the body. And so it's a much more holistic approach where you want to feel good all over, and you want to do that by eating the best building supplies right out of the gate. Because if you don't do that and you're eating ultra processed food, there's nothing in it for your body to
Mm.
function on. Nothing. It doesn't even have fiber, which is crucial to getting your information system, your vagal nerve, to deliver all of the information that's coming from the food to all the cells in your body, including your brain. And I know we were going to talk about how do I eat out and all of that. I'll go back to that. The vagal nerve takes the nutrients that your gut takes out of all of this beautiful live food, and they jump piggyback on the fiber. So the fiber comes in the real food, no fiber in the ultra processed food. And it rides piggyback over to your vagal nerve, which is also in your gut. And your vagal nerve is your superhighway to everything. So it takes all those nutrients and delivers them to your brain and your heart and your liver and your toes, everything gets delivered by the vagal nerve. And because you're getting all these wonderful nutrients, you are turning on all your hormones, which are crucial, including your dopamine, which is um, part of your happiness hormones, your serotonin, which is happiness, your oxytocin, which is your bonding and community, and then your GABA gets toned down, which is where all your anxiety comes from. And your thyroid is one of your hormones, and it's like the director of all of those hormones. And ultra processed food actually snuffs them all down so that they don't work properly. So if you're not getting the fiber and all these beautiful phytonutrients that vary by color of your food, you're not getting the advantage of being as happy as you can because your hormones are not working properly.
Wow. I love, so I call them the brain's happy juices. That's what I call
I
the
like that.
serotonin, dopamine, and all of those. Okay, so my brain is just like going all these places, but mainly so I know my dad watches the show every single week. He's religiously watches. We have been talking a lot about food because him actually and my husband both had their gallbladders removed. And so it has been a very big challenge for both of them to figure out. They both lost a ton of weight, and the food part has been really challenging for them. I've heard the fiber. So I just started taking a fiber powder. I drink it every day with chia seeds. I put a little bit of honey in there, and then sometimes I put a little lemon juice. But I've been doing that for quite some time for gut health, and then attempting to release some pounds also. But I love the fiber component of it because it wasn't something that I was focusing on before, and also trying to eliminate sugars and processed food. But we don't have the best eating in the world. So I love that you're mentioning the fiber part. And food again has been one of those things that now we have to look at the labels. We check what sugar content is in there, what fat content is in there. And so it's been very interesting.
And sugar is addictive, lights your brain up like a pinball machine. It's not good for you, and the fake sugars are just as bad. So you don't want to be using any of that stuff. When I bake, I do use some coconut sugar because it's a very low glycemic sugar. And not only did I get three autoimmune diseases, but I had type 2 diabetes, which I have reversed. They'll tell you you can't do that, and they're not true. And I had a fatty liver, which I discovered by complete accident. I had a huge fibroid, went to have it scanned, and they went, she's going to go through menopause. It's going to shrink on its own. But do you know you have a fatty liver? Many, many, many people who are eating sugar do not know. And that impacts your gallbladder. And your gallbladder is important because it emulsifies your fats. And so there is a supplement that if their gallbladders are gone, they should be taking. And when I just finished writing a 6-hour liver course because it took me 10 years to reverse my fatty liver, but that can be done too. And the liver is the most amazing organ of all of ours because it can regenerate itself. And you can have somebody else's half of their liver go onto your liver so that it comes back. The liver is a workhorse of the body. It takes care of every toxin that goes into your body. And I have to tell you, they are freaking everywhere. I got angry when I started doing research. Why was my government allowing me to be poisoned? And then it occurred to me, had nothing to do with my government. Shame on them, but I controlled what I put into my body. And if I took responsibility for it and stopped eating the ingredients that act like poisons in ultra processed food and the pesticides and the herbicides sprayed on big farms foods, if I stopped putting that and then all of the chemicals in all of our daily products, cosmetics takes care of itself. So they monitor themselves, and guess what? They're not doing a very good job at it. So your skin is your biggest organ. So be very careful to look up all the ingredients on your cosmetic and your personal care products because it goes right into your skin, into your bloodstream, and then it's your liver's responsibility to get rid of it. And the liver is a really great organ. It really does a good job until it can't. And when it can't is when everything starts to go haywire. But the liver impacts every other organ in your body. It's the number one cause of heart disease, and I bet most people don't know that. But the liver even impacts the brain. One of the things I found is that if you have a lot of toxicity, especially from heavy toxic metals, it can actually make your brain change personality. And so having a body that works like a well-tuned machine in all its components is part of your journey back to wellness. You want to make sure that everything is working at its all-time best. And that starts number one with food, because if you're not putting in quality building blocks, then you can't do that. Now, every cell in your body dies and your body is constantly replacing them. It's on a different schedule depending upon what it is. If it's the lining in your gut, it'll die in 7 days and has to be replaced. If it's in your intestine, it'll die in 3 days and need to be replaced because it's so corrosive down there. Your lungs might take 6 or 8 months. Your brain, they used to say it didn't regenerate cells, but they now know that's not true. And it too is regenerating cells all the time. So the decision becomes kind of like the three little pigs. Do you want the straw house? Do you want the stick house? Or do you want the brick house? I want the brick house because once you start feeling really good, you feel it from your brain to
Oh no. we, we lost her again. She'll come back. She'll come back. Actually, it's a good time for our last sponsored break. See, it like works out. It's fine. We'll be right back after this quick sponsored break.
Have you ever felt completely alone?
Like your life doesn't matter.
One person dies due to suicide every 40 seconds.
You are not alone. Call the National Suicide Lifeline at 988.
Hope and recovery is possible.
1 in 8 people globally live with a mental disorder.
That's why empowering minds saves lives.
We need your help.
With only $19 a month, you help us save lives through mental health and suicide prevention education.
Scan the QR code or go to makementalhealthmatter.org to sign up as a warrior for mental health today.
And like that, we're back again. I was like, it's like that perfect timing. But if you happen to be just tuning in to the Make Mental Health Matter show, thank you so much for watching or listening. Cheryl and I are talking about food, how important it is, and how you can reverse all sorts of things based off of the food that you eat and the lifestyle that you choose. And I love your energy. I'm like, I want to bottle that up. But like you just talked about, is it all is our choice, right? Like what we put into our bodies, how we choose to live our lives. You talked about toxins, actual toxins going into your body, but you also talked about toxic relationships and how those can affect you just like the food that you're eating, because your brain is constantly in this fight or flight, and that's just dumping toxic into your body, right? So you've talked a lot about food and then also stressors that contribute to all of these things. So I love that your that whole body, it's that holistic wellness. The body can regenerate, and yes, now they talk much more about like neuroplasticity. I can't ever say the word right,
Neither
but
can I.
yeah, it's like the hardest word ever. But your brain can reconnect. And one thing that I also, on my dad's side, there has been a history of dementia and Alzheimer's. And I have also listened to many speakers throughout time that talked a lot about how we can start to work with our brains. And again, it goes to the food that we're eating and all of these things so that we can slow down and or like start reconnecting some of those things. So all of this, I'm just like absorbing all the information and the goodness that you're sharing. But I want to go back to you and have you share a little bit more, because you were talking about the liver and how the liver runs everything. And so there are ways to be able to remove the toxins, remove and the linings, all the linings, they regenerate, which I didn't know about all of that either. So I'm learning so much.
Good. Yeah, well, that's the whole idea. And it occurred to me, I have 20 habits that I want you to adopt over time. You're not going to do it all at once. So sleep is important because for dementia, that sixth to seventh hour is when your brain sweeps all the plaque out that keeps your brain alive and healthy. You want to breathe so that you eliminate your toxic stress. We all have stress, but when it becomes toxic, it interrupts every organ system in your body. So I stop to this day, since I had no cortisol left, at 10 and at 2. And I do a couple of different stress exercises. One is called the 478 breath, which is Dr. Andrew Weil, who was the first integrative doctor. You can go on YouTube, look him up, and do it right with him. But it takes 4 minutes and it takes the top right off your stress and resets your parasympathetic nervous system. I use something, I don't have it here, called a belly button wand. It is a really weird looking tool. It's a T. You put it in your belly button. The idea by the Tao master who created it was we're born through our belly button, so all our meridians go to our belly button. And by vibrating this stick in our belly button, we can reset our whole parasympathetic nervous system, and we can even point it towards the liver or the heart or the lungs or to the gut, and it will send extra energy there through the meridian system to help heal it. Sometimes I just stand up next to my desk and bounce. And I bounce so much that everything bounces because I want to get energy that goes up and clears my head and gives me back my productivity if I'm slowing down. And that also releases the toxic stress. None of these exercises need to take more than 4 minutes, but they are like gold to keeping your whole body humming and working in order and in wellness altogether. And they impact your brain. I'll tell you, you'll feel it in your brain the minute you start doing breathing or the belly button wand or the bouncing or whatever. I just learned one from Jim Quick where if you stick out your tongue for 40 seconds, that'll release all the stress in your jaw and your head and help reset your parasympathetic nervous system. So there's lots of ways to do it, but it's important. The sleep is super important. You need to get out into the sunlight every day. They recommend you do it in the morning. Only for like a minute or two or three, because that helps your body make its own vitamin D. And vitamin D and magnesium work together to create all kinds of neural connections in your brain and connections in your body. And magnesium is responsible for 500 different enzyme reactions in your body, and it needs vitamin D in order to do that. So, getting into the sun is super important. There's all kinds of little things that you can do that help you create feeling good. And that's the point. We want to feel as good as possible. And I've even now connected with feeling good is the key to manifestation, because when I
Mm.
feel great, I'm putting out energy into the world that's love and kindness and all the higher areas of the vibrational skill, and that just pulls more in, and it helps me open up to communicate with the universe. And when it knows what you want and you're making it so clear, it wants to give you more. So it all works together, and it's all part of wellness. And I'm telling you, once you start feeling this good, you're not willing to give it up. So it gets easier and easier to do the lifestyle habits the more you do them, because when you move away from it, your body goes, I'm not going there. And I have a conversation with myself every morning in the mirror. And I say, Good morning, Cheryl. Have I told you lately that I love you? And I say that out loud because I want to hear it. And then I ask my body, how does it feel? And I get quiet and I listen to it, because I got three autoimmune diseases, a fatty liver and type 2 diabetes, because I was not paying attention to my body. And I'm not doing that again. So if you get quiet, your body actually will tell you what to do. And you can go, you need to eat more of the different colors that you haven't been eating lately. Or you need to go move your body, because your body will yell at you that you're not moving enough. And movement creates another happy hormone called endorphins. So you need all the happy hormones so that you live a super happy life. And you get it from all your healthy habits, not just food, but food is foundational.
I love that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my brain's going all over the place again. Um I love the tongue out. I just heard that recently too, and I was like, oh, and maybe it was I saw Jim Quick. I think it was something that popped up on his, and I was like, oh, that's fascinating. And then the other, so I've been doing stretching at night right before I go to bed. I watched a bunch of videos that shared like when you move your legs, because I've had a lot of like my hips have been really, really tight, which I believe that's where I hold all of my stress and grief. It used to be my shoulders. Now it's like shifted to my hips. But right before I go to bed, I do stretches, and I notice when I don't do them, my body is like, go lay, go do them. And then the other one that I learned more recently is if you just lay on a hard surface for 8 minutes, they say 8 minutes is the thing, but it shifts everything in your body like back into where it's supposed to be. So I've been doing that one in addition with the stretches that I'm doing at night. And it was for whatever reason, it's that 8 minute mark is when your body actually relaxes enough that it just lets everything settle back into the places that it's supposed to be, which also helps with your sleep. So I shared that because my husband tends to have a hard time with sleep. And so I shared that with him. And ever since he's been doing it, now he's getting a lot better sleep. So it does, it actually works. So
Yeah, they
try.
all work together, and you're not going to add them all at the same time. Start with food and then start adding. You can do stress breathing next. Then you can um, make sure that you're getting adequate sleep. All of them work together, and the more of them that you have, of my 20 pillars of health, the better you feel and the easier it is to continue doing them, because your body yells at you when you stop, and you don't want to feel that way. So if you're listening to your body, I was not listening to my body until I got sick, and now I listen to it faithfully, because I'm not going back. I feel way too good to go back.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Ah, she froze again. That's okay. She'll come back. Oh, she's back. Okay. I was like, that was fast. In and out.
But listen
Yes.
to your body, and when it complains, figure out what you need to do to get rid of the complaint.
Yes. And that's, I mean, I feel like that is such a, it could almost be a whole topic in itself, right? Because it's so often that we as humans, um, there's so much information that comes at us all the time that we're not really sure what is or isn't going to work. And I know for me, I've learned a ton from all the guests that I've had on my show, especially breathing. I didn't understand the breathing techniques, which have been life altering for me because I get in those moments that maybe I'm feeling a little bit of anxiety. And then I'm like, ooh, I have something that will help me with this. And so I do a breathing exercise. I also, it's a silly little app, but it's called Finch. It's a little bird that you grow it from a baby into a big bird. And there's a list that you can create, and it's all self care strategies. That's what I have used it for. And so every morning, like you can check off the things that you've done. And one of them is to get sunshine in the morning. That's one of them that I put on there. Also breathing, drinking water. There are some that go along with my business just to remind me to focus on the positives versus the negatives. And so I think, and then you get certain rewards as you start to check off the things that you do. But it's a self care app that just gives
I love
me
it.
the reminders every day. So I love that.
It's great. And you can work on different ones at different times, but your body will tell you how it feels. So get in tune with your body and let it vote.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So for those people that are maybe they are struggling to eat the right way, or maybe they're just struggling to get it started, what would you recommend? Like, what would be the first thing to start looking at? I know we talked a lot about food, and that is a great place to start. But if I was somebody that was like, I don't even, this sounds great, but I really like don't know how or what to do, what would you recommend?
I do recommend you start with food because that impacts every cell in your body. And so you want to eat the rainbow because each color has different gifts for the body. And you want to eat them because they get together and they party and they create health. And so you don't want to eat them with all the poisons that are sprayed on them. You want to buy organic, and somebody will say, but it's too expensive. But it's so worth it because why do you want to be eating poison? I mean, that's essentially what all that stuff is. So you want to take care of your body by eating all the colors so that they can do their job. And it's amazing when they have the synergy to work together. And then you can move on to whichever area you want to do next. It might be getting 7+ hours of sleep at night because that last hour is when it cleans out all the plaque in your brain so that you can function right. It might be drinking enough water, which is super critical, but it also has to be clean water. I started off with a Brita at the side of my sink that cleaned up my water. I then ended up putting in a faucet just that would clean the water that I was going to drink and cook with. I now have a house that's completely cleaned of all toxins because I can tell the difference and I don't even want it going through my skin in the shower. I want to drink clean water because water is crucial to how I show up in the world and how I feel. So there are, I have 20 different things that you want to start doing, but you need to cook your own food because it's the only way you're going to control what you put in your body. Now, I live in Sedona, so there are 15 restaurants here that are organic. So I can go out, but that is not normal across the board. So if you can't find clean food, you need to cook your own. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as buying organic vegetables and steaming them and then eating some kind of quality protein. I eat paleo because I want to eat meat that is as clean as my vegetables. But if you decide to just do an all vegetable diet, make sure you're getting enough protein because protein is crucial for everything to operate in your body. But there's lots of different roads to bring your body back into balance and health. And the more you do it, the more it impacts your mental health as well as your physical health, and you start showing up in the world happier and happier because it turns on all your happy hormones. And it truly just makes life worth living all the way around. I was in a relationship where he refused to change. I met a man who had just lost his wife of 43 years who wanted to go on a get well journey with me. He lived 3 hours away from me, and I married him because we had such a good time exploring all the different ways to feel great that we now support each other. He's a statistician. I was a jeweler. So we see the world from different points of view, but we support each other in everything we do. And healthy habits are not something that's negotiable to us because our bodies yell at us the minute we avoid doing one of them. So your body starts to be a participant in your health. And when you start, my first book is called It Feels Good to Feel Good. When you start feeling good, you don't want to give it up. And so eating quality food and then adding all the other lifestyle habits that make your body function and be happy, it turns on all your happy hormones. Why would you want to live any other way?
Yes. And you had mentioned earlier it's ewg.org. Is that the right?
EWG.org is where I looked up absolutely everything. Now, they have an app now. They didn't have that when I started, and it's called Healthy Living. So you can look up things right on the spot. And then there are some other apps now that one is called Yucca that will tell you what's in your food, what's in your product. Should you be buying that? You start to become a little detective because you like feeling good and you don't want to do anything that's going to interrupt that. And you cannot do it all at once. So don't think you're going to do it all at once, but let your body vote each step of the way as you add. And as I say, start with food because that's what feeds you from the inside out. But after that, you don't want to be using all the toxins and all the products in your life. So you want to start eliminating them. Took me forever to do that. Took me 5 years. But there are apps now that will tell you, and then you let your body vote. And when you get off track, your body will yell at you pretty good. So you need to tune in and listen to it because once you start feeling good, as my first book is called, it feels good to feel good, and you aren't willing to give it up.
Yes. And I know that, so your books are available on Amazon. I also know that you have a free digital magazine that you offer as far as is it for eating?
It's for everything. It's a flip book, and it ended up, I had hoped to print them and put them on every doctor's waiting room in the country, but it ended up being such a big book that it cost $50 just to print it. So I have it online digitally, but it will go through all of the early things that I learned about cleaning up my life, my food, my environment, my stress. I do stress breathing twice a day because I'm not going back. And you start feeling so good that your body encourages, hey, you're getting a little freaked out. It's time to do some stress breathing. Or are you getting enough sleep? Or whatever it is, drinking enough water. You need to drink, I try to drink 8 glasses of clean water a day that comes out of a system in my house that keeps it clean. You want to laugh. You want to have fun. You want to enjoy yourself. I try not to take any over-the-counter medications because they all do something that interrupts me, but I do take things like turmeric, which helps me keep my inflammation down, and inflammation is what makes you sick, and it gives you a cleaner brain and makes you happy. Um, I also have found something to take for hay fever that's clean. That everything that goes in my body, I try to have it be something that just makes me feel better. And
Mm.
you can do that. And I go through some of that in my first book. What did I do for this? And what did I do for that? And there are things you can do so that you can start to feel good all the time. And that's the goal.
I
And
love that. And
your brain works better when you do this too.
yes, I know. I do have the link. And for those of you that are listening, so it's bit.ly, but it's bit.ly/feel good magazine. If you want to download that, again, it's bit.ly/feel good magazine. And it's bit.ly/FEELGOODMAGAZINE. So Feel Good Magazine. And I would love not only on Amazon, but if they want to learn more, they want to get your books, maybe potentially work with you to figure out how they can help themselves, how would they do that?
Okay. My thing is I am Cheryl with a C, M for Meyer, Health, HEALTH, Muse, because I want to encourage you to adopt healthy habits because it makes such a difference. So once you know that, then my website is CherylMHealthMuse.com. My Facebook page is Cheryl Meyer, but there is a Cheryl M. Health Muse Facebook page. My just Cheryl Meyer, and I'm Cheryl Meyer 3 on Facebook. I post a lot because I share tips for living every day because I want everybody to feel as good as I do. And so I have a very large following because it's not just food, it's your stress, it's your water, it's your lifestyle habits, it's getting in the sun, it's listening to your body. I get up every morning and I say, "Good morning, Cheryl. How are you feeling today?" And I let it vote. And if anything is off, I deal with it right away because I'm not going back. I feel way too good to ever give up my healthy habits, and they are super worth it. And my magazine goes through them from A to Z, literally, right down to all your healthy habits, how to adopt them, your food. There was a woman who had 3 back operations who ended up at the Tao Group here in Sedona adopting healthy habits and came back to a healthy, happy lifestyle and had a movie go on PBS about how she did it. There are lots of different roads to wellness, and I give you several of them just by flipping through my magazine. But I even talk about how to vet a restaurant before you even walk in. I know every chef in America because before I go to his restaurant, I call and I have a conversation. Can he feed me or not? Because I'm pretty picky about what my habits are. But it's so worth it to own your own health because when you start feeling this good, you don't want to give it up.
Yes, I love that. And for those of you that are listening, it is CHERYLMUSE. So Cheryl M. Health Muse, and you can look her up. And I just think, I mean, this whole conversation has been very eye opening. And I hear you when you start feeling better, you don't want to go back to
No,
not feeling good, right? Your brain's functioning, your body's functioning. And I mean, the goal obviously is to get to those years later in life that you're still functioning well and your body feels well and you can just keep going. So I love your energy. I love how you have had to unfortunately go through these times, but you've stuck with it and you definitely, yes, not everything's going to change tomorrow, but
no, it
there
takes
is a
time.
possibility. Yeah, you can, it may take a little bit more time and that's okay.
But don't let anyone tell you that you can't get well because I
Yes.
had some really serious autoimmune disease. I had fibromyalgia, which made every muscle and every joint in my body hurt. I couldn't function. I had IBS, which interrupted my daily habits down there because it would just happen out of the blue. And I had Hashimoto's, which is your thyroid, which orchestrates all your other hormones. So you want to have a functioning body. And by eating the way I did and adopting my healthy habits, which are listed in my magazine, which is a digital flip magazine, and then underneath it is my how to eat. I talk about how we got into this trouble and what ultra processed food does to you. And then I explain to you how to eat. And I don't care if you want to eat meat or if you want to be vegan or you want to be vegetarian or you want to be pescatarian, which is only eating fish as your protein. I explain it all and why it's so important. Um, and I just published a magazine that's a flip book on adopting healthy habits, because if you take care of yourself, you can reverse all of this. You can reverse your stress. You can adopt all the healthy food, but it's bigger than that. And I go through all of the different things you can do. I even now do something called heart math, where I shut down that ugly voice in my head who wants me to be defeated. And I go into my heart, which has as many neurons as my brain does. And that's where your love and your kindness and your gratitude and your hope live. And you go into that space, and then that sends you forward. And what's interesting is when you go into that space, that's when the universe can hear what makes you happy because you have gratitude for being there. And that's when it starts to support you. And that's when manifestation begins to occur, and serendipity is things just start happening that are good. It's incredible.
I love that. Oh my gosh, so much goodness. I already know. I have a handful of people I'm going to send your information. So that was so amazing. I'm so glad that you were able to come on. You were such an amazing guest. So thank you, thank you, thank you for all your knowledge. And I so appreciate you being here today.
Thank you. And I love being on your show because mental health is something that was in my family. And so that's why I did all the research about you don't have to go there. All your healthy habits will also impact your mental health. So they
Yes.
all work together in your body. There are no just single pieces out there. Your whole body works together to create joy and happiness for your life.
Yay. Yes. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, such an amazing show. So many good nuggets. You might have to like go back, rewind, go watch again. I know I'm going to. So, thank you all for tuning in, whether you are watching or listening. I go live every single Monday at 5 a.m. or 5 p.m. on Dream Vision 7 Radio, or you can watch on E360 TV at 5 p.m. And that's all Mountain Denver time. No matter what you do, make sure you come back next week. I'll see you next Monday. Bye, y'all.
Thank you for joining today for the Make Mental Health Matter show. We hope you found today's episode insightful and empowering. Remember, your mental health journey doesn't end here. For more resources, support, and information, visit us online at makementalhealthmatter.org. You won't forget to subscribe to our show or follow us on social media to stay connected and continue the conversation, will you? That's right. Together, let's make mental health matter. Until next time.